Hi everyone, this is Konzel here. So today I'm going to do my second Diablo 4 video, which will be about the minions build for Necromancer. I moved on from Barbarian to Necromancer because I wanted to showcase that Paragon bots aren't necessarily always about getting the most glyphs, right? If you remember what I mentioned in my video, in the bot video, the Paragon bot optimization video, it's also about whether or not the legendary nodes as well as the red node, blue nodes, magic nodes, etc. are worth getting. And in the case of Barbarian, a lot of them aren't, at least the legendary nodes, many of them. But for the Necromancer, on the other hand, the Necromancer bots are actually very good in the sense that it allows you to specialize and really go get all the rare node clusters. Like they are very, very worthwhile to get for that particular build. So to illustrate further what I mean, right? You have Necromancer, Blood Begets Blood, Blood Buff. These two are obviously good for the Blood build, Blood skill builds. And they are slightly different, but there are some synergy there. And you have Bone Graph, which is great for bone builds. Cult Leader, great for minions, and Scans, Wither, great for Shadow. And you have even the other bots, they are not specialized, right? They're actually pretty good because most of the time you will be consuming corpses on your Necromancer. So this is good. Corpse Synergy again is good as well. So Necromancer bots are a lot better than, say, Barbarian bots, to be honest. But it doesn't mean that Barbarian is bad. It just means that it's a different type of optimization required. Okay, so for my Necromancer, if you see, it's vastly different from the Barbarian. We only have 5 bots because we are spending so much on the random clusters as well as legendary nodes. Yeah. Okay, so that's just a quick introduction on why I'm doing Necromancer from Barbarian, switching from Barbarian to Necromancer. I will quickly just go through the build itself before I go on to talk about the Paragon bots and the optimization path, etc. So this is very standard, right? I mean, almost all builds will use this because it's just way too broken. Okay, 4 ranks to all skills is a lot. And on top of that, you get cooldown reduction as all stats as well, and also damage reduction. In terms of the legendary aspects, right, we will be getting all the minion related aspects because this is a minion build. Okay, if you look here, we have full on minions. We are not sacrificing any of them. And if you notice, there's actually no core skills being used here. You just don't have the time to cast core skills. Corpse Explosion is your core skill, basically. Okay? And basically, like I want to say earlier, everything is related to your minions. This is to add more CC for the minion. Although technically speaking, you don't really need this if you want to go for, say, more damage. In fact, you can, because we are using Decrepify. Okay, Decrepify is crazy good for CC. Just that I wanted to use the vulnerable here. I wanted to synergize with this upgrade tool here via this, so that we get to the frozen state earlier. But you can definitely go for any other weapon aspect if you want to. And you have aspect of hardened bones, or the good ones actually. But to me, I feel that this is the best for now. It helps provide you CC and survival, and on top of that, helps get the vulnerable, right? Aspect of hardened bones, very, very straightforward stuff. Yeah, increased damage reduction, more skeleton warriors, more skeleton mages. Black River, which is Corpse Explosion, because we got to make use of our Corpse Explosion, right? And Black River stats are actually pretty good. You have damage to healthy enemies, friends to fueled by death, friends to Corpse Explosion. So that's nice. So fueled by death is this passive here. Is it over here? Okay. Now the reason why I didn't get it in my skill book is because I don't want any essence. Yeah, I feel like it's a waste to get it. And we are anyway getting the rents from the Black River, right? Explosive Mist, I don't think I need to explain this, right? If you are doing Corpse Explosion, you should use this. And not to mention, although we do not have any skills that help us do overpower to reduce the cooldown of Blood Mist here, we do have that Creepify with its Lucky Hit effect, allowing us to reduce active cooldowns by 1 second, up to a 15% chance. So this is still decent. This still helps us to maintain our Blood Mist, and if Blood Mist can trigger the buffed version of the Corpse Explosion from Black River, that'll be awesome. That'll be perfect synergy. If it doesn't, maybe we will need to switch it out. But let's see how it goes when the game goes live. And obviously, we should always get this, right? If you're going a minion build, you should always get this. And we have the unique here that's really specialized for minions. Just look at the stats. The stats alone are, the effices alone are already good, right? You get like hit chance, minion attack speed, minion health, taunts. Taunts not so much for our build, but it's still okay, still decent. I find that the Decrepify with taunts have like anti-synergy, so I don't really like it per se. Although it can still work out. Now, so this unit's effect is while you have 7 more minions gain lucky hit up to 10 positions to empower all of your minions, causing the attack from each to explode for X physical damage. So that's good, right? We get to explode we get additional explosion damage or AoE damage from each minion. So that's good because we have a lot of minions here. We effectively have 6 plus 6 plus 1, 13. And obviously, H-Master's aspect is going to be used here because this is like such a good effort, right? You basically always get a bonus damage when we have full primary resource and we are not using any essence here, so we will always get the full damage bonus here. Oh, and the most important thing is that its skills deal up to X amount increased damage. Skills, which means everything here. Should mean everything here. So your minions should be included, your blood mist included, your keys, Corpse Explosion included, etc. This is the reason why this is so good, because it applies to everything, not just say like specific core skills or brawling skill or whatever skill it is. Yeah. Okay, gems wise, unfortunately because we're focusing fully on minions, right? Don't really see much benefit in terms of the gems. You could go for say vulnerable, critical strike damage. You could also go life is pretty straightforward, right? You could also go taunts here if you want to. Armor should always be taken for intelligence character in the Diablo series. Because intelligence characters will get higher or resist to begin with. Now I'm not 100% sure whether or not the minions will do critical attack. If the minions do crit, then there is some value in getting Emerald over Topaz. Okay. Now, in terms of the Book of the Dead, we want Reaper this particular move here because we are getting our slow, stun, vulnerable, etc. We always have a slow here. So we basically always get to reduce the cooldown on our Reaper. And with the increased attack speed that we have from both Paragon Ball, from the unique, from the aspect, etc., I think this will result in a very, very frequent proc of the wind up attack. Next, for the cold mages, we're actually using cold mages here to help with freezing, chilling, CC, as well as this vulnerable effect. So the reason why we are using this to get us to this earlier. And the golem wise, we are using the iron golem. You can stun and again it makes enemies vulnerable. Let me just quickly go through the skill tree. Skill tree wise is very, very straightforward. You just need one rank of each on the basic skills. Decompose for more corpses, because we are doing a corpse explosion and a medium build. For the core skills, like I said, I'm not getting any core skills. We are only getting 3 points here into the lucky hit. That allows us to basically always have a chance to spawn a corpse whenever we do any damage. And this is based on lucky hit. And Decompose has 40% lucky hit. So it's pretty decent in terms of being able to hit this amount. Blood Mist. Obviously, we want to be able to spend our Blood Mist as much as possible, so that's why we get it to level 5. We also have the Blood Mist leaving a corpse behind a corpse. That's good. Obviously, 3 points into the Skeleton Warrior Mastery. Then you have the Corpse Explosion, right? All out damage for our Corpse Explosion. Decrepify is very, very good. So we're going to get it to RAM 5 for more slow and more damage reduction. And the two lucky hit effects that it have is really, really good. You have the 10% chance to be stunned as well as 15% chance to reduce your cooldown, which synergizes perfectly with this. We also get the amplify damage as well as the close. Yep, close. Because I would expect to be going close because of this effect here. I'll talk more about that later. Now we do have one darkness skill, which is our decompose, which is the synergy that we're going for here. We get our darkness to stun. We get movement speed. Because necros are very, very, very clunky. We definitely need movement speed. Here we have Golden Mastery, we have the Inspiring Leader, Death Defense, and Hellbent Commander. Okay, and obviously we get colors added. So this is the skill build, very, very straightforward. And we go now finally talk about the Paragon board. Now before I talk further, go deep dive into the detail of the path itself. Let me just quickly show. This is the updated boards for the Necromancer. Now this is this basically is the same structure as what I've shared previously in the Paragon Plan Optimization Guide, where we use Byte Deep Dive. So now this is for Necromancer. You can see all the different Necromancer boards are here, as well as the number of 5 stat nodes in each of these radius, the glyph radius for each of these boards, as well as the best entry/exit path for each board before rotation. Okay. Glyphs that are shortlisted for this build are here, and the ones that I eventually went with are the ones in yellow. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump straight in. Let's talk about this. So the path here is pretty much straightforward. We always go for the damage route. And then we have the control build here. So the control glyph here is because it's so easy to get CC on Necromancer. On the Grabify works, you have your co-mages, right? You have the stun from your Iron Column. So there's a lot of CC that Necromancer can provide. So control is actually very good. Not to mention that the bonus skilling here for every 5 intelligence purchase within range, you deal plus 3% increased damage to control. 3% is a lot more than the usual, like 1.5, 1.8, or even 2%. 3% so far is the highest I've seen. But I'll only be looking at Barbarian and Necro so far. I've not gone to the other classes in detail. But 3% is really good. And imagine when the glyph eventually gets leveled up and you have really good skilling here. Okay. So control is the first one. Now I want to talk about Cult Leader in detail. Cult Leader is just so good for minions. And just look at this. Look at the amount of nodes I'm getting here. I pretty much did not leave a single blue node untaken. Or rather a node cluster untaken. Right? Look at this. I'm leaving 0 of them untaken. I mean, we give a better view. I'm leaving 0 of them untaken. We go from the bottom. Yeah. Is the faster path to this glyph, which obviously you put Dead Razor. You should always put Dead Razor with Cult Leader, as long as you're using minions. Always. Because Dead Razor has just such a perfect synergy with the rare nodes over here. The rare and the magic nodes over here. Just look at this. Every single one of them is minion damage excluding the stats. And then the other one is damage reduction for your minions. So minion damage and minion damage reduction. And this bonus, what it does is that Paragon nodes within range gain plus 40% bonus to minion damage and minion damage reduction. So everything gets full value. And when you do level this glyph in future, if this becomes a 100% bonus, what this means is that we have 20% plus 3 more nodes here, right? So that's 35%. That 35% gets another 35% and becomes 70% minion damage increase. Likewise for the reduction. So it's really, really good. When you eventually get this level high enough, I think you probably don't even need the this aspect of hardened bones. You can go for something like aspect of disobedience to get a lot more armor on your necromancer, or any other defensive options if you if whatever is that you prefer. Like for the one where you meet elites and get a barrier, that's fine too. So going back to the Paragon board, so this is perfect synergy. And since we are doing a minion build, obviously Cult Leader is going to be the very first one that we get, right? Now, once we're done with the glyph, the next nearest board here, we already have one that is good, where you get minion damage and attack speeds. That's me, yeah. And we obviously, being a full minion build, we go on and get the Skeleton Warrior buffs. All these nodes. This whole node cluster is about Skeleton Warrior. Now, the dexterity here showing 249, not an issue. This because remember this is not from stats yet. This is not from doesn't include stats from gear yet. So we'll definitely be able to get this. And then you have the Skeleton Mage Rare Node Cluster, along with Rare and Magic Node Cluster. And we go on further to get the legendary node, because why not? Because we are going to use all 3 minion types, so we will get 30% increased damage for all of our minions here. And we go further on and get minion armor and maximum minion life. Why? Because we also want our minions to survive. We get very irritating if they don't, if they keep dying, right? Especially against bosses, it affects your damage output a lot. So the more defense for them, the better. So with that, you can see that for Cult Leader, unlike a Barbarian Paragon bot, right? We actually go all out and get every single rare node cluster plus the legendary node plus the glaive as well. And that then we then move on to the next bot. Okay, next bot wise, I actually want to get Scant of Death. Why? Because Scant of Death's node, legendary node, is actually pretty useful. It's not like a super groundbreaking kind of difference, but it's a buff that's always there. You either get a damage reduction or increased damage. It's always there. It doesn't last for X amount of seconds. It's always there. That's very good. And not to mention, there's a path here where it only takes me 2 nodes to get it. Because if we go this path and we try to get this, right, it gives us damage to healthy enemies, which we want. We then move on to this. Oh right, if minions can't crit, then we will have to remove the critical strike damage. But anyway, it's just one of it, so that's fine. We did get one less here anyway. Yeah, I can't remember whether or not they can crit. I'll have to find out more in detail. But right now my build doesn't really focus on crit damage for them anyway, because we can't do the gear stats yet. So that's why I've not done that portion. But we are really optimizing in terms of the Paragon bot, and that doesn't affect at all. So then that brings us to here. And I'm going via this path and rotated the bot this way because I'm doing the skeleton mages next, the glaive. And it requires intelligence, and this bot is perfect for intelligence, and this path is perfect for intelligence as well, because we come in from here, we already have 3 intelligence nodes, and you easily get the 4th and 5th, which then links to the bonus damage to injured enemies and more intelligence here as we progress it. So it's very, very optimized, this path for Flesh Eater, Scant of Death. Scant of Death. Okay. So then we move on and go further to the next bot, which basically is the Flesh Eater. Flesh Eater is obviously a great bot for us. Arguably even better than Scan of Death if you want to say, in terms of getting which first. It's just that for the Scan of Death, the path is very, very optimized. We get to go straight through to Flesh Eater, which is why we go for Scan of Death first. Okay? It's in terms for the path planning as well. So for here, right, we actually get ourselves the bonus damage to elites and also some defensive nodes here. Getting some resistance, although resistance isn't that great for a intelligence build, but it's part of the path, right? We managed to make it part of the path here, and we go up, and we get the legendary node. Then we move on to the last board, which will be our Hawking Monstrosity, which is basically all the golem focus board. Now, unfortunately, we do not have enough nodes to get the rest of the bars for the golem, like the attack speed, as well as some more survivability. So that's a little unfortunate. But we do still manage to get the legendary node. In fact, if the golem is attacking too slow and you want it to attack faster, you can actually drop the legendary node and try to go for this instead. Fairly fine as well. Just that this has increased life too, so it also helps with his survivability. Whereas this is purely damage and attack speed. Okay. Not to mention it's a lot more synergized. The number of nodes is less. You actually don't have enough nodes to get all the nodes here. It's a simple math, right? You have 1, 4, and 3, 7. 7 nodes, because we will always be getting this golem damage and life. So 7 nodes, the nearest we have is this, so that only brings us to here. We can't even get the yellow node without sacrificing some other stuff. Yeah. So not that great, which is why we went for the legendary node, so that the number of nodes remaining is perfect. And the reason why we only can go for these 4 additional bots and 5 bots in total is again because of how good Cult Leader is, where we get so many bots here, nodes here. Or every single node cluster is taken. And by the way, the reason why I go for this route is because this is healthy enemies. This is very, very important. Damage to healthy enemies is good because the moment you hit, the first time you hit a minion, right? The first time you encounter an enemy, right? It's always healthy. So the bonus is always there for the first hit. Now, these stats here right now is there's still a lot of stuff that's not implemented. Your gears, your skills, skill tree, paragon glyphs, legendary tiles, etc. But it does help us to provide a view. When you see damage versus healthy and injured, by going that route over there, we have 62.5%. So we always do 62.5% damage bonus to any enemies that we first meet. And eventually, when they get down to below 35% life, we do another 62. We get our 62.5% bonus again. This is very nice, right? And our minions damage so much damage. Golem already gets like 85%, 50% to all the minions, and each of the minion also get their 42.5 and 42.5. Again, this is before the paragon glyphs. So this does not include the paragon glyphs that you see here. Okay, none of it. It doesn't include any of this. Once you have all those there in there, then yeah, you're gonna see a much better result, right? And also the minion armor, golden armor, warrior, resist. I think there's a minion damage reduction. So remember this, all these figures here do not include your paragon glyph, which means that it doesn't include your super good ultimate. I would say ultimate bot and glyph for minion build. Doesn't include this. Once it include all of this bonus here, then we'll get a lot more. So I'm actually really looking forward to trying out this build on Necromancer. And this is just like pure minions. I actually went to do a lot of builds for Necromancer. I actually like this the most, Search Minions. Because I really like the concept of it. Blood Orb is also looking good. Blood Orb is without any minions. And also Bone Spear minion is looking pretty good too. So I'll probably do more videos to talk about all of this. But for now, yes, this is the CE Blood Emis minions. But to be honest, the majority of damage is really coming from your minions as well as the Corpse Explosion. But Paragon board wise is full out minions because you don't really need, there's really nothing else to optimize for Corpse Explosion. Because whatever bonus we can get, we're already getting them, right? We have control for CC damage, or damage increased damage against CC. We have the Dead Razor, and each of the board we have each type of minion. Skeleton Warrior, Skeleton Mage, Skeleton Warrior, and Golems. Alright, so I hope this video has been helpful to you guys in terms of understanding this build, and especially in terms of understanding the Paragon path and optimizing it. This path looks really good for a full-on minion build, which is what this build is about anyway. Along with using the remaining corpses, the excess corpses for Corpse Explosion. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next video. I'll probably do cover another Necro video after this. Yep. Right, bye. Oh, right, if you like the content of my video, click subscribe for more. Bye.